and gentlemen, the play is the thing. With your host, Judy Sleed. Special guests, Pauline Sutcliffe and Diane Vitale, authors of In Conversation with Stuart Sutcliffe. Now here's Judy.
Thank you, Lee. I'm so happy you're here today to introduce me. Nobody does it like you do. Pauline and Diane, two lovely ladies who wrote this wonderful book. How are you, Pauline?
Now that I'm here with you, Judy, I feel wonderful. No, actually, I'm feeling very well. Thank you.
Oh, you have such a lovely British accent. Does that mean that you're from, did you swim over here?
If I could swim, Judy. I'm the only person on East Hampton Beach you'll ever see over the age of 50 who still wears water wings. So no, I didn't swim here.
You flew here.
I flew. Yeah. A long time ago.
A long time ago, but that's a very charming accent. And Diane?
Yes, mine isn't as polished as Pauline's. I'm from the United States of New York.
Of New York, yes, I could hear that from New York. Well, it's wonderful, and you both ended up in the Hamptons. Is it because this love you feel for the Hamptons?
Well, would you like to start answering that?
Well, I
You knew
mean,
the
what's not
Hamptons
to
before I
like
did.
about the Hamptons? I mean, this is a magnificent place. Happens to be the home of abstract expressionists, since we're speaking about art today. And it is, I think, one of the most beautiful places in the world, personally.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Pauline?
I think it's the second most beautiful place in the world.
Uh-huh. You're talking about your native country?
I think London's pretty spectacular. But it's not a beach community.
Yes.
And it certainly isn't on an ocean. It is on a river. So for me, it's a marriage of absolute perfection. I have the ocean here, beautiful, simple beaches with no retail on them, and a city as historic and as beautiful as London. So, perfect world for me.
I had another guest with a wonderful British accent, and he feels the same way. I have to introduce you to him.
Is he handsome?
Oh, yeah, he's very handsome.
Anyone we know?
Well, you will. You will. He was on my show like 4 times talking about how beautiful London is. Well, anyway, we have this beautiful picture here. Could you start off with this, what this picture represents?
Well, that's actually the front cover of the book that is about to be launched on April 10th, the 50th anniversary of Stuart's death, in celebration of the 50th anniversary of Stuart's death. And Stuart is Pauline's brother.
Late brother.
Actually,
older.
Older.
Yes.
He was an older brother.
Yes, and he died 50 years ago, April 10th.
April 10th.
Yes.
Wow.
And
he was?
He was one of the original founding members of a pretty famous band. You might know the name.
Yes.
It starts with a B.
Tell us.
Starts with a B.
A B, what? The Bugs.
No,
The Bee Gees.
Actually close.
The Bee
Very
Gees.
close. The Beatles,
The
actually.
Beatles.
Yes.
I wonder how many people know that.
Well, if you go on Google and do a Google search, there are actually many hundreds of thousands, but there are other pockets of folks, especially young people, I find, who are just learning about who Stuart is. And the 50th anniversary of the launch of this book called In Conversation with Stuart Sutcliffe will certainly educate a lot of people about who he is and his impact on a very famous rock and roll band.
Right. And Pauline, what was the beginning, the start of this idea to do this book?
Well, we'd have to roll back time because it's incremental the way we get to this point because there's many more stops on the way. The first stop being Liverpool Art School, where Stuart and John Lennon were both art students. And John moved into Stuart's apartment and his studio there. And in the building next door just happened to be a grammar school. You don't call them that here, but
No, we call them elementary schools.
Yes, it's pre-university. And at that particular school was Paul McCartney and George Harrison. And they were friends of John Lennon's. And they used to come into the art school at lunchtime or whenever. And that's how John introduced Stuart to George and Paul. And Stuart became the group's first bass guitarist and also named them, and John corrected the spelling a little bit. So
because he always had the last word.
Word, of course. And Stuart was part of the band when they went off to Hamburg and got more than their feet wet over there. But John believes that was the making of them. It was a very long, grueling apprenticeship. Now, Stuart died shortly after that, but he was also an artist of real ability and talent, and had already been exhibited several times before he was a 20-year-old.
When you say artist, he drew pictures, he painted?
He was an art student, and this is one of his early works that's going to form the front cover of the new book that we've got out. But there have been,
yes.
But there have been many. This is another of his artworks. He also became a student of Eduardo Palozzi in Hamburg, and Stuart was part of the second generation of European abstract expressionist painters. And of course, there's a deep tradition of abstract expressionism here in the Hamptons with
Jackson
Pollock, de Kooning, and others. And so there's been many exhibitions and many books, many documentaries over time. But this is a particularly important new book because it commemorates not only the 50th anniversary of his death. That's the full book in focus there.
It hasn't been released yet.
It's going to be released on the 10th of April. But just as importantly, see, here he is with his bass guitar. But it also includes 20 other young-ish, important painters from Britain and Europe. And the in conversation part of it is that the other artists have painted one artwork to commemorate Stuart's anniversary, and hence the conversation. They then have written a large paragraph about what Stuart meant to them and how he has influenced their work, and then they've painted an artwork. So the In Conversations book actually has 20 artworks of Stuart's and 20 artworks of the other artists, one from each of them. It also has a clutch of essays that have been commissioned especially for the book. And of course, we are two of the editors. Giles Cooper, who's the CEO of the Stuart Sutcliffe estate, he's written something. Michael Hall, the curator of the art part of the book, has also written an essay. We've written a very substantial chapter for the book together. And then there's a sociologist who's written an essay. There's an art critic who's written an essay. And then there's a creative writer who has written an essay as well. So
don't forget Donald Cuspit.
Oh, and Donald Cuspit, our New York art critic and historian.
Yeah, can't forget
No, he's our pride and joy is Donald.
So you've been working on this for a long time, like
Yes.
a couple of years.
I wish we could say it's a couple of years.
Yeah.
We've been working night and day for about 6 months. We've brought it all forward to tie in with the anniversary on the 10th of April. Realistically, we should have let it have another 6 months, 9 months, shouldn't we?
Oh, because you had to get in touch with all these other artists.
Yes, it all had to be done.
To do some work and to write something.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
But it's also evolved into an award, an annual award.
An art award.
That the estate will be issuing to an artist that will be selected by a board. The board has yet to be selected and assembled because it's such really hot off the press. It hasn't really been announced yet until April 10th.
You've got
which
an
is the
exclusive, by the
anniversary
way.
date. So no one knows about this. This is an exclusive for you, Judith.
Oh my gosh. Me with my
Oh yes,
red
please.
nails.
Please.
Yes,
You
Yes.
should be doing the
Which salon did you get your nails done in?
Oh, and Lupita.
This is the commercial part of the show.
Yes.
Lupita, courtesy of Lupita.
I just felt like red nails in your honor.
Oh,
Yes.
you knew I was really a red lady, didn't you?
Yes. So anyway,
Not a scarlet woman.
you talking about estate. What does that mean? That you're the executor of the what estate?
Of my late brother's estate.
This is 50 years later?
Yes, yes. It's full of
You mean-
artworks and
May I show you?
essays
Yes,
and
yeah.
poetry and
Just to give you an idea, this is
Yes.
a book that was published by Matthew Clough at the Liverpool Victoria Museum of Art. This was a retrospective that was on exhibit in Liverpool
When?
2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now.
right.
And they did a beautiful job. But what you can see here,
Oh, look,
there's
it's that one again.
Yeah, that's
image.
That's an
But
iconic
this will just
image.
give you
Yeah.
a brief idea of the art.
Go to the
that-
later work.
She's the sole executrix of this estate that consists of really a lifetime worth of art. in
That-
21
For such a young
years.
boy. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why he's such an amazing person, because he produced so much in so little time, as
So
well
he-
as writing essays and poems and a novel about.
Who is that a picture of?
That's, okay, go for it. This is Stuart. This
Yeah.
is Astrid Kirker.
The photographer who did all the iconic Beatle photographs, his fiancée. And that's Klaus Forman, who played with the Yoko Ono band and with John Lennon. And
Now, this is what, 1961, maybe?
yes, and they look as if it was taken last
But
week.
let me
Oh,
show you
I
some
love
that
this.
you might recognize.
See, that's John and Stuart on the beach in Hamburg.
Making a collage.
I take it you've heard of John Lennon.
John Lennon. Of course I did. Of course I did.
I'm teasing you.
So,
I'm
give you
teasing
an
you.
idea.
Let's talk about, oh yes.
Oh.
Look, this is him.
Now, that could be taken for a Prada ad in 2012, I think. That
Yes.
new thing?
Oh,
That's
yeah, he's
1961,
very
right?
1961.
Handsome and the nice stance.
Let's move this on. You see, another reason why we've brought it all forward like this
Yes.
is that in September, October of last year, following an opening in Glasgow, a movie that was made about Stuart called Backbeat some years ago has now been made into a stage production. And it opened in the West End of London last September, October. And we were over there, obviously, for the opening. But it's opening in Toronto,
And
In
it's coming
July.
to New York.
and then it's coming to Broadway.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
So we wanted all of this ready.
So you
so
actually,
that
what
it
you
can-
did, you kept him alive all these
Yes,
years.
and it's going to follow the opening of the play. So it's going to
Wonderful.
LA first before.
Right,
Broadway.
Toronto first, Toronto this summer,
Yes, but then
So what was it?
LA before
then
Broadway.
LA, then Broadway.
What did you think of the play?
It's phenomenally good.
Is it a drama or a,
Well, it's everything, isn't it? It's really about
No, but it's not musical, is it?
It's got music in it,
Oh, yeah?
obviously, but it's not a musical in the traditional sense.
Oh.
You know, it really is. It's about relationships. It's about love and life and death and loyalty and
Must go and see it
anger
when it
and
comes.
I
We'll-
tell
we'll
you
take
what,
you.
It was amazing.
we'll take you'll come to the opening in Broadway with us.
Oh, I'd
We'll-
love that.
we'll
I haven't
invite
been
you.
to an opening for years.
Well,
I used to go to openings while I was married. My husband was in the newspaper business, and we got invited to all openings.
and nobody's invited you since.
Well, no, I've been out here, and I don't even go to New York.
Don't you? You just dig in out
that
here.
would be wonderful. I love
It was
the
very,
theater.
very well reviewed, and
yes.
it was at the St. Martin's Lane Theater on the West End, and Carl Saito is the executive producer.
Who's an American, by the way,
He's an American who
living
lives
in
London,
London.
something
Yeah.
like you. And he did a phenomenal job. He was out actually here visiting in Sag Harbor one winter, about 2 years ago, and was very interested in getting the nuance of the production correct, the nuance of the relationship between Stuart and John.
Yeah.
And the dynamic between them was so, so powerful. Pauline actually writes about it in this book called Beatle's Shadow. This is one of Pauline's books.
An author.
And, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Did
many.
you put that on your credit, author?
I've written a number of books.
So
Yeah.
that's about his life?
Yes. This really is,
The Beatles' Shadow, Stuart Sutcliffe, and his
Lonely
Lonely
Hearts Club.
Hearts Club. Oh, what a wonderful face.
And she captures, this was very well reviewed some years back now.
How long? When did that come out?
97?
No, a bit later than that.
And did that come out in New York or in England?
You know, I don't think it came out in America, but Europe. It did very well.
It's full of, I love books with pictures and with
So do I.
captions.
Yeah, these are the
It
original,
is,
I mean, this is
you know,
early Beatles, but you could see them in a lot of these.
My gosh, so who's the publisher of that book?
This is Macmillan.
Macmillan?
Macmillan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they are here.
Yes. Well, I know they are now. It might be. You can get these things on
Amazon, you can get
Amazon
this,
and
Yeah.
yes, you can get them anywhere.
This
now.
is phenomenal, though,
I
because
must
Pauline
read that.
really captures, I mean, any Beatles book, early Beatles published book, will reference Stuart, because you can't erase him out of history. He was there at the beginning.
Yes.
But this book is really written from Pauline's perspective, and it's more of a memoir, I think.
It is.
Yeah,
it is,
that's
yeah.
even
Family
better.
and-
Yes.
It's
yeah.
even
tremendous.
better than from anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what's that other?
Well, this, you want to tell about this?
Well, this is a documentary about
Is
Stuart.
that a book or a?
Well, it's based
a
on
It's a DVD.
This is a DVD. and
Yes.
It's based on my
Your
book,
book?
but it's not really. It's
It's different.
It's
more.
different.
So
it's-
somebody like filmed it?
BBC. The BBC
BBC
commissioned it.
commissioned it.
Oh,
television.
Did you see? Of course you saw it. What do you think of it?
She did see it, actually,
But
after
it was
it was made.
But it was. I'm in it. I'm in it.
You're
So I
actually
should.
in it.
You're in it.
For quite a long time. I'm in it.
Yeah.
And some of it was filmed in my house here in East Hampton as well. So it's very nice. It's very nice because East Hampton's very nice
Yeah.
as well.
But they also shot on location elsewhere,
Yes, they did.
in
Yeah.
Germany and in Liverpool.
Well,
and,
yes. Yeah.
it's a phenomenal
It
documentary.
won- it
I must
won
You
an
say.
are my
award.
neighbor. I knew you're so famous, and I didn't even know it.
Well, we're so
My
modest.
gosh.
Oh, we didn't
Well,
know you
just
were
wait.
in our neighborhood.
Yeah, just wait
But
till
before-
this comes out. You'll be bombarded. Just practice your signature.
Well, I've got to go to
Stamp.
London and do it for the
Here's
new
a
book.
stamp.
But just to finish off, this won an award in New York,
Creative
the
Excellence
Creative
Award.
Excellence Award.
Oh, really?
It
You
was on
mean
Ovation.
the film?
Yes, the
Yeah.
documentary.
How long is it?
It's an hour, and it's phenomenal. It
Very
really
Who
is.
is
must
in
see.
it?
Me?
Pauline is. But
Oh,
all of
lots
the
of-
old folks that, were around at the time, Rod Murray and...
We beg to differ, Diane. We don't think we're old
No,
folks.
I mean the
We're-
folks that
Oh,
were
yes.
around. No, not you. I didn't mean that. I
No,
didn't mean that
am
about
old.
you.
No, I am old, but I'm not old.
I meant
No,
about
you're
the
a
folks who actually
baby.
knew Stuart. A lot of them are in
So it's not it's a documentary,
Yes,
like.
Yes, it's not pretend or made up.
It's
like
actually
movies.
aired several times on different channels. Sometimes I flip
Really?
through and you could see it on documentary channels,
Yeah.
but it's available on Amazon. You can get
You
anything
know, a lot
on
of
Amazon.
people say that about me. They flip through the channels and they see me.
It's true though, isn't it?
No, it's
Yes.
serious.
You can't imagine.
Other
how many
channels
people
pick
will see
stuff
it.
up and show it,
Yeah.
don't they? Don't they?
Yes.
And so, are we doing this live? No, is this live or recorded?
Oh, it's not live,
Oh.
but it's not going to be edited either. So whatever you said here, it stays here.
Oh my goodness me!
Yes.
So, and how many? And you do this show once a week, Judy?
Well, sometimes once a week. Sometimes I miss a week. Sometimes I take off.
You don't.
Yes.
You take off?
Sometimes I take off like for a vacation. And there are times when I do 2 shows a day. It all
Wow.
depends.
Even though you took all those production, what is it, producer sessions?
Producers, yes.
They let
The producer
yeah,
course,
okay.
yes, yes.
Good.
And it is just amazing that I met you only, how many days ago?
It was about a week ago.
Was it a week? No,
No.
it was less.
It was
on a
like Friday.
Friday.
Or Saturday.
Right, the
Friday.
Saturday.
Saturday.
that,
By
promotional
chance. I
next
met
door.
you
Yes.
by chance. I think I just started to talk to you.
Do you
Right.
think anything happens by chance?
No, no. And then here you are. I'm just so happy I made some comments to you. I forget what I said, but it must have impressed you. Yeah,
It's
that
actually-
lovely
actually-
party.
Actually, it was a lovely party, and you were such a lot of fun.
Oh.
You were so warm and nice and sweet. And when you said, could you
Yes.
ring us and would we come on your show?
Yeah.
We thought, well, we will. We'll see. And
Yeah.
you rang.
You're
Yeah.
catching Pauline before she runs off to London.
Yeah, I'm going to London
Wow, that's
in about,
wonderful.
what, 5 days, 6 days?
In 5 days. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well, to
travel.
launch the book.
Oh, to launch
This
the
We're
book.
launching it.
Yes. Well, make sure she comes back because she likes it there.
She's back and forth all the time. She
Oh.
can't stand being away from this place. It's too
Oh.
beautiful.
Especially now
Yes.
that the winter, we hope, is behind us.
Yes.
What a nice winter it's been.
Yeah, we had.
Can you remember the one before? We were
like,
this deep in
yeah,
snow.
there was a lot of snow. And
Awful.
this year it overpassed us,
Thank God.
Goodness, yes.
just
I was
like
very
Passover.
Like Passover, right. All meant.
Right. So, of course, you are very busy with this project. Did you do anything like this before, or are you planning on something else afterwards?
Well, why don't you tell Judith a little bit about who you are? This
mean,
is this
who
is
the real
sort of
me
like
is.
this is
This
something
is just
that
a smidgen of
well,
what you are. You're an author, you're a promoter, you're a publisher, whatever this is. Did you say you were an actress before?
No.
You
But-
didn't. You
but-
didn't say, but you were.
No, no, I wasn't. I used to do amateur dramatics, but you shared a little bit of your past theatrical background with me earlier. And, you know, I was not able to remember the parts.
Oh, you. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I had the most terrible stage fright.
Oh, I don't
So-
have that.
No, but obviously. And I don't now because, you know, I'm not having to remember somebody else's words.
she's very good with her own words.
I'm good with my
Yeah.
own.
As a matter of fact, she's a psychotherapist.
You did mention that, yes. Yeah, but I'll be coming to you a lot because
Can't see friends. Can't see friends. Yeah.
I need
Not
therapy
allowed.
desperately.
Pauline was doing executive coaching in the corporate world when I was involved in the corporate world doing executive
Exactly.
training and development.
That's how we actually met.
And she would work with the corporate family, so to speak, to get everyone on the same page and work with top executive managers to lead their organizations so that people wanted to follow them. And I worked with the next tier down of managers, getting them to buy into whatever it is the leaders were, spearing forward with.
And you were also an actress?
I am a management consultant. And you could say I'm an actress when I'm on stage training and developing, but,
Oh.
I don't sell anything I can't own.
Oh, I see.
That's important.
Well, it was such a pleasure having you here. And I think we could have another half-hour show. And I just want to thank all my underwriters, whose names you're going to see come up afterwards, because without whom I couldn't do this show.
And that would be a pity.
Yes, it would be. You
Well,
are
this was
such
wonderful. Thank you so much for
delightful
having me.
ladies, a lot of fun, and I found out so much about you and all the world. And this book is coming out in
10th of April.
10th of April,
Yes.
and this is March. So
Right,
another
so
month.
it's about, well,
I always have to ask, what day is this?
I think it's...
we're at the end of March.
That's
That's good enough.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is.
And this is wonderful that you took the time to have us here. This is a quaint little community, Wainscott. It's
Yes,
amazing
and
how
then
many
you could
important
take
places
the,
are right here.
you will be seen not only out here in the East End, but I send the tape to Manhattan.
Excellent.
And of
you.
course, you could purchase one of these tapes and take it with you and
That's a good
There you go.
idea.
That's
use
nice.
it, take it to England with you.
What a good idea.
Yes, and they could put it on in a TV show in London.
Maybe for the 10th when you go for the soft launch.
Yes, you could give it to a TV station. Yes, wonderful.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. And it's the man's name who is here. His name is Jim Thurman, and
Jim Thurman.
and he talks like you do, and he loves theater and opera. He was telling me all about when he lived in London. He went to see all those shows, and he just he came out 4 times.
Oh,
Really?
good.
Wow.
Well, we will hopefully break his record.
Oh,
There you go. And maybe we could bring Giles Cooper, the CEO of the estate,
When
on
he's
board.
over.
yes.
He's
on the way
fabulous. Great guy.
On the way to
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah, that would be
Yes.
great. Maybe we could do a show then.
Yes.
All right.